What's good to my members, man? It's Professor Lauren giving y'all that Professor Lauren University special. Yeah, right. So, this is the introduction to philosophy class. Yes, we will be discussing philosophical topics. I'm running a history class and a philosophy class at the same time. But right now, like I said, I'm gonna be y'all philosophy teacher. You feel what I'm saying? So make sure y'all stay tuned, y'all tap in, right? So pretty much this video, man, we're gonna be going over what we gonna be going over pretty much the structure of the philosophy class, shit like that. How this class gonna go, right? So the first few videos gonna be a little boring. Not gonna lie to y'all. We pretty much getting into the foundations of philosophy, right? So we trying to understand philosophy, understand the different aspects, the different concepts, right? A few of them we got dualism, right, which is pretty much the conversation of trying to figure out if the mind and the body are separate or if they're together, right? Pretty much more so, and I don't even think it just applies to the mind and the body. It could apply to multiple different things, but I think dualism, right, is more so focusing on the separation, what makes the mind and the body different from each other, right? And pretty much how they connect without being the same thing or being all in one. You catch what I'm saying? Then you got epistemology, which is figuring out how we know what we know and how do we know what we know is the truth, or how do we, you know what I'm saying, how do we know it's the truth and it's not false information, it's not a lie, you know. So really just getting into the conversation of trying to figure out how do you know what you know, right? How do you know what you believe in is the truth? And then you got um dualism, epistemology, metaphysics, which is dealing with pretty much the supernatural, God, you know, conversation about how the universe came into existence, right? And really my main goal for real is I want to make sure that the youth, like I said, the young adults, like I want to break it down to y'all for real. You feel me? Like I said, I do want my educators out there, the people that's OGs in whatever field, the educational field, whether, you took philosophy or, history, whatever, whatever subject I talk about, I do want my educators in the comments to break it down better so we can all get a better understanding. And I can even, use that to apply to my future upcoming videos. Like I said, because we here to learn, man. We here to learn. We're here to learn. We're here to teach. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm the professor don't mean I still ain't the student. You catch what I'm saying? So we gonna get into the foundations, right, of philosophy. And then we gonna get into different philosophers, right? The philosophers that contributed to philosophy, right? You feel me? Like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. I think we got some unknown people. Tales of Miletus. It's either Thales of Miletus or Tales of Miletus, right? They say he was the originator of philosophy. We're gonna get into Egyptian philosophy, man. We're gonna get into, Greek philosophy. Dude, we're gonna pretty much, man, we're gonna get into it, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into different cultures, right? What they had to contribute to the topic of philosophy, the subject of philosophy, catch what I'm saying? I would say philosophy is getting to understand life, getting to understand why you think the way you think, right? Pretty much being open to different ideas, a different thought process. Pretty much opening your mind to a different thought process, right? Whatever the aspect, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to religious, spiritual, when it comes to education, when it comes to learning, gaining knowledge, when it comes to learning about yourself, when it comes to learning about, like I said, political structures, bro. Like philosophy just pretty much, I would say, having, like I said, opening your mind to different, like I said, a different thought process, right? But one of the things I want to do is I want to like be hype. You feel me? Like that's kind of my main thing. Like I'm looking at my videos, I'm lame as shit. You feel me? I'm lame. I'm really, and it's like I feel like with education, it's kind of hard to. I feel like it's kind of difficult when like me, a nigga like me, been planning trying to do shit for a fat ass minute, and then I wait long as shit, and then the energy kind of died down. So I kind of need to get my energy up, and I also need to get like not even be more creative, but I need to like figure out a way to bring the energy to the camera and also like I said, add, you know, find the time to actually start adding things in the edit to kind of, you know, lift it up. You know what I'm saying? Make the, you know, make the video more intriguing, man. Bring people to my shit. Cause right now, like I said, these first few videos, I'm not gonna lie, they gonna be boring as shit. I'm just introducing the different concepts, like I said, introducing the foundations for both history and philosophy, right? Cause like I said, these are things that I feel like I need to touch on before we start getting deep into the field. I really could just start going crazy and just start talking about shit, but I'm like, you know what, let's get into the fundamentals of the shit. So we, like I said, we get a understanding of what it is, what we got going on when we talking about, like I said, the different things of philosophy, you know. So yeah, so I would say philosophy, man, the breakdown of it, man, is just really having a different thought process, thinking outside how you usually think to get an understanding of, you know, different aspects of life, right? So that's how I say that's how I break down philosophy, right? So, and another thing we're gonna go over is modern philosophy and then ancient philosophy, right? So like what's the difference? What's, you know what I'm saying, what has ancient philosophy contributed to modern philosophy? Cause like I said, there's a lot of ancient, you know, still like Socrates still being talked about, Plato still being talked about, Aristotle, like these are the main three names. When you think about philosophy, these are the names that most people think about. So, like I said, and a lot of their ideas, like I said, a lot of conversation, debates that they had still are being talked about thousands of years later. You know what I'm saying? So we got, like I said, we gonna get into why they're so popular within the philosophy community. So yeah, so man, that's pretty much the video, man. I don't want to make this video too long. It's 8 minutes already, man. So we gonna end it right here, man. But like I said, next video we gonna be going over the foundations, and then after the foundations, man, we gonna get deep into it. Straight like that, no Diddy, Fresh and Long. We out here, man. Yeah.